USDJPY technical analysis, and we're on the daily chart. And on this particular chart, we can all see that the market is in an upward trend, which means that we should indeed be looking for those potential buy opportunities. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is that the market had given us this very nice W structure, right? It actually started at this point, and ideally we would love to see the market move further up to that level to close in line with where it started. I hope you guys can see that. To add to this, right, we had a W structure, right? Price broke to the upside of that neckline and then came back to the neckline to give it a test. And at this point over here is where we should have looked for those potential buy opportunities. And especially if this neckline of this W structure aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool. And let's proceed. What else do we see in regards to the daily chart? Another thing is that if you were to look at this area over here, we can see that price at this point in time is at a very strong level of resistance, and I believe that that's why in and around this area we're seeing some sideways movement. But nonetheless, we're probably going to see the market move further up to around this level to close in line with where this huge structure started. I hope you guys can see that, right? Anyway, let's zoom in and see what else is happening in regards to the daily chart. And as I had said, guys, the market at this point in time seems to be at a very strong level of resistance, and that is because if you were to go back in time, you would see that at the very same level we had a certain level of sideways movement, right? But here we are zoomed in on the daily chart. What else do we see? On this chart we can see that we also have an overextended W structure over here, which similarly has a neckline at that point, and we can also see that the market has closed above that neckline, which means that in the future we actually want to see price continue to push further up and then come back to that level to give it a test. And at that level where we have that neckline, guys, as I usually say, is where we would look for those potential buy opportunities, and especially if that line or that level actually aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool, right? So what else do we see, guys? At this point, I don't see much. What I'm going to do is head down to the H4 chart, and let's have a look in terms of the H4 chart. And just to recap, remember on the daily chart I spoke about how we have this overextended W structure, and by the way, it's an overextended W structure because that first leg is much higher than that second leg, and as I said, it has a neckline at that point, and we can see that price is closed above that neckline, right? And remember what I said, guys, we want to see price actually moving sufficiently above that neckline and then coming back to to that neckline to give it a test. And at that neckline is where we should look for those potential buy opportunities, as I usually say, right? So here we are on the H4 chart. What do we see on the H4 chart? On the H4 chart, we can see that the market has been moving rather sideways, and in as far as buying or selling opportunities for that matter, at this point in time, I don't see any. I don't see any. And what I would do myself personally is actually wait for the market to continue to move further up, and then again wait for it to come back to this very strong level of support, which is also the neckline of this overextended W structure. And at this point is where I would look for those potential buying opportunities. And if we were to go back to the daily chart, remember that we have on the daily chart this huge W structure, right, which started at this point, and I said ideally we would love to see the market continue to move further up to close at that level in line with where it started.